Hey everyone, this is Chris Crazy House, finally back again, ready to actually sit and talk about DC Fandome. I've been wanting to do this video all week, but I just never got a chance to actually do it. I've been very busy with homeschooling my daughter, as well as doing some updates for my actual website, chriscrazyhouse.com. But I'm here, and now I can actually sit here and talk about this stuff because even though it's not the most serious thing in the world to me, I still enjoy looking at superhero films and talking about comic book stuff like that. And I'm actually a DC fan. I know there are a lot more people out there who are more fans of Marvel comics, and I have no problem with that. I read a lot of Marvel comics back in the day as well, but I was also a big DC fan, especially during my early childhood. I would say like back in like the early 80s, I would say I was a real big DC Comics fan. I had a lot of their comics, a lot of their toys. I had DC comic characters on my t-shirts, on my drawers, on my bed sheets and everything. So I was hardcore. I think I was even Superman a few times for Halloween. So yeah, I was big into DC Comics back in the day. So let's talk about DC Fandome. I watched the main trailers for a lot of the things that they presented there, and I was just going to go through each one and kind of just give my opinion on each one. So starting off first and foremost, let's start off with Justice League, the Snyder Cut that is going to appear on, I believe it's on HBO Max if I'm not mistaken. So the fans finally got what they wanted, and now they have the Zack Snyder version of Justice League. And I would say it looks good. It looks like what I was expecting from him to begin with. Like that Justice League movie that they actually released was not. I could tell that was not his vision. I could just I mean like literally like within the first like 2 minutes of the film, I could tell okay, Zack Snyder barely had his hands on it. Just from the color correction, I could tell it was different, and the tone of the movie was different. So this looks more consistent about what he wanted to do. And if you watch his DC films, you would see there's supposed to be a connection there between Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League. It's almost like those are actually a Superman trilogy, if you actually look at them that way. Man of Steel was the first movie, Batman v Superman was the sequel, and kind of how you want to say it, the Empire Strikes Back of that series. So the story reached its climax, or not its climax, but its turning point, or like in the hero, that's where the hero reaches his lowest point. And people always use the Empire Strikes Back as that example because of the hero's journey of Luke Skywalker and how he kind of he got hurt really bad and lost at the end of Empire Strikes Back. So that's what it was with Batman v Superman. So the Justice League was supposed to be kind of the resolution and seeing how these characters and some of these new characters will be introduced there as well. So, like I said, it looks cool. Something that I'm definitely interested in seeing and seeing how it plays out. Like I was more interested in his version anyway when I saw the original like artwork and the original concepts, and when I got little notes about what he was going to do with the story, I was very much interested in seeing that, especially because I'm a big fan of the Fourth World, like, New Genesis, Apocalypse, Darkseid, Steppenwolf, Desaad. It'd be nice to see Kala back as well. I don't think he's going to be in the movie, though, but, I'm a big fan of all that stuff, so I was eager to see what he was going to do with that. But we didn't get it, but now I guess we are going to get it, so we shall see. We shall see. Once again, I'm not going to dwell too much on the actual fandom in regards to that, because looking at my videos saying, I thought you guys hated Zack Snyder, obviously a lot of those people were upset that I would call them out about how they pretty much crapped on Zack Snyder for years, and then when he got the boot, then you're asking for him to come back and give you his version of Justice League. So You know, a lot of them were upset, saying that I'm confusing different types of fans here and there. I don't think I am. I just think a lot of people are riding the zeitgeist of whatever's going on at the time. It's real easy to get views and clicks on your YouTube channel and on your social media posts if you just go ahead and go along with whatever's popular at the time. So back when Batman v Superman came out and it got all those bad reviews, it was popular to just come out and shit on it. Likewise, now that people want to see the Snyder Cut, it's popular to just jump on the bandwagon and say that's what you want too. And what's funny, I'm waiting for the reviews of the Snyder Cut. They're probably going to be positive just because a lot of people have already painted themselves into a corner where they almost have to like it. Like, they can't say anything negative about it. They almost kind of have to like it in order for their movement, their quote-unquote fan movement that DC and Warner Brothers listen to be legit. They almost kind of have to go with it. It's almost like voting for a politician that you really want. You almost kind of have to accept him and just go along to get along with whatever he puts out there because you voted him in office in the first place. But we shall see. We shall see how it is. Like I said, it looks cool to me, and I'm interested to see how things work as far as the story goes. It'd be nice to see that a two-part Justice League like he originally wanted, but we'll see how this goes. Maybe we'll get more. If this does well, we'll get more from Zack Snyder as far as like what he wanted to do with the DC universe. That would be cool too. Moving on, I think the second biggest trailer is Wonder Woman 1984. And we've already seen a trailer for this a while ago, but this is, you get to see a little bit more as far as like what the story is and some of the action as well. I'm so glad that we actually did get a chance to see Cheetah at the end and that she actually does become Cheetah at the end, because I was worried about that. I thought that the actress they picked was not really a good fit and that they were just going to have her be her through the entire movie and we weren't going to see an actual mutated version of Cheetah that we were used to seeing in modern DC times. Like, I know she used to be as a woman in a costume, but they made her more mutated later on, adding more mythology to her character as time went on in the Wonder Woman universe. So I was eager to see that. It's cool seeing Gal Gadot in that, what do you call it, that Kingdom Come Wonder Woman armor. And I know she's used it in other places as well, but I think that was the first time I'd ever seen it, was in Alex Ross's version, Kingdom Come, where Wonder Woman had on that eagle armor, which is pretty damn awesome. And it's cool to see it in live action. The people who do the costume designs for these movies, these Wonder Woman movies, are amazing, I think. They did a great job designing the Amazons as well as Wonder Woman's different outfits, as well as the period pieces, because like since these movies take place during different time periods, they've done a good job with that as well. So hats off to the production team of Wonder Woman 1984 and also the original Wonder Woman that came out a couple years ago. So, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to seeing it only because I liked the first Wonder Woman movie. It's not something I thought I would like, but I mean, I said I was a DC fan from the giddy up, so I liked the Wonder Woman show back in the day, the one that came out in the 70s with Linda Carter, so I would watch that. So, I mean, I figured they could at least do better than that, as far as like, add some effects. Like, I was not a big fan of Gal Gadot getting hired in the first place, but as time went on, I can see why they picked her. I think I saw someone do a review of her as Wonder Woman, and they had it down pat. They said that she can be fierce when she wants to, but she also has a lot of compassion, and I think that's what a lot of people miss when they think of Wonder Woman. They just think of her as a fighter, but she's a person or a character that has a lot of compassion for people, and I think Gal Gadot shows that a lot in her version of Wonder Woman. The actual compassion there for people, and I think that's something that a lot of people miss in the character, but I think she gets it right perfectly. And, this is good that we get to see this movie, I hope it does well because, like I said, with the massive layoffs at DC Comics, it's they needed a win with this fandom. I'm glad the overwhelming response for DC Fandome has been pretty positive, and that's a good thing because otherwise, now obviously their comic books division and their corporate movie division don't need each other to survive, but negative press for one can hurt the other. So, the fact that the comic book part of DC, where the concepts all come from, just have massive layoffs and is doing bad financially, that could hurt their movies. If this fandom, if people weren't enthused and excited about the projects that they're seeing here. So moving on to the next biggest project I saw in there, The Batman. Now this is an interesting one. This one I wasn't paying too much attention to, so I think that's why it kind of excited me and some other fans out there because this is one that we weren't really looking forward to seeing. Not that we thought it was going to be bad, but we just didn't. Some people weren't feeling the idea of the Robert Pattinson playing Batman. I didn't really care. I thought he's a decent enough actor, and if depending on what kind of Batman they're doing, I think he could pull it off. So for me, it wasn't that big of a deal. This Batman is supposed to be younger, but also he's kind of still just starting out as Batman. We won't see an origin story. It's more concentrating on Batman. He's already been Batman for 2 years, and he's already starting to work with the Gotham PD. So that's kind of where we're at here. And they said this is more of a, if there is any origin story, there's more of an origin story for his rogues gallery. So we're getting to see the origins of Catwoman. We're getting to see the origins of the Penguin, played by Colin Farrell. A lot of people didn't recognize him, but this is him, his picture here. So he's going to be the Penguin, I guess, in this Batman universe, which was interesting because I thought he's a very good character actor. So I want to see how he pulls that off. And I believe the main villain, I guess, is going to be the Riddler, and they're kind of going with a 7/serial killer version of the Riddler. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, he kind of looks more like Hush in some of these pictures here. If this is supposed to be the Riddler, I don't know if this is supposed to be him or not. But the fact that you had this voiceover of someone asking questions all the time and giving these, ridiculous rhyming riddles, I figured that's why we're going to get the Riddler in this movie. And people have always wanted to see the Riddler done more in a crime drama, serial killer type fashion anyway. So it looks like that's what Matt Reeves is going for. Stylistic wise, looks cool. I thought the design for his suit, he reminds me a lot of Daredevil. Like a lot of people were saying that they couldn't figure out, they weren't sure how they thought of his costume and they didn't know why. And I said, because he looks more like Daredevil. That's just my opinion. That's the kind of look that he gave me. And the way he moves kind of gave me that mindset too, especially when you consider the Daredevil series on Netflix. That's what it kind of reminds me of. But we shall see how it goes. I mean, because Batman, obviously, he could, like, Daredevil is pretty much just Batman with no money. if Daredevil had a fortune to lean back on, he could be Batman, but he doesn't. He has to kind of rely more on his wits and, his senses and also his martial arts training. So Batman has all that, plus he's got a bankroll to go along with it, so he can have more gadgets and whatnot. He can make his own suit. He doesn't have to pay someone or find some special needs man to make it for him. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the trailer is very emo. They even had a version of the Nirvana song in the background. I don't think anyone caught that. Like, I saw a bunch of reactions and reviews for it, but no one seemed to know that that's a Nirvana song. I don't think it's them singing it. It sounds like someone else is singing something in the way. But that's it was a very popular Nirvana song, and I don't think, like, I'm not sure how Kurt Cobain would react to this, since he was someone who was anti establishment and anti being famous. That's why one of the reasons why he wound up killing himself. So I'm not sure how he'd feel about one of his songs being used for a major studio film like that. But whatever. We'll never know, and I assume the other members of the group are cool with it because I know at least Dave Grohl anyway is into making money, so I know he wouldn't care. But yeah, that's my feelings on that. I think it could be a good movie. It looks more like a crime drama more so. So I'm wondering how DC is going to go along with that. I guess if the Nolan Batman universe worked, the Dark Knight trilogy worked, they can go along and use this as well and kind of build off of that type of atmosphere. It would be nice to see something a little bit more abstract or more colorful, but I'll go along for the ride and see how it is. Maybe it'll be a great movie. Next up, I wanted to talk a little bit about Black Adam, which is more like a visual teaser for the Black Adam movie starring The Rock. So ever since they even thought about doing live action DC animated movies, they always wanted The Rock to play the character of Black Adam. And so it looks like everyone's dream is finally going to come true in that regard, where The Rock is going to play Black Adam, and not just in a movie with Shazam, but actually have his own movie. Now, I don't know what the plot necessarily is going to be. I mean, the teaser just kind of gives like the backstory and gives you an idea of the attitude and mindset of the Black Adam character. One of the best DC villains in that universe. If you don't know the character, you can go watch the trailer and kind of get an idea. But he was basically the first version of Shazam, aka Captain Marvel. But instead of using his powers to help people, he decided to just take over, and he felt that was his way of helping people by ruling over them. So it was almost in a way you can kind of see his philosophy in that regard. And he existed all the way back during ancient Egypt times. And he was eventually banished by all the wizard. And I think he was literally sent to the other side of the universe. So all this time, he's actually been trying to fly his way back to Earth for thousands of years. So that's kind of like his backstory. And once Billy Batson becomes Captain Marvel, that's when Black Adam finally makes his way back, and they clash. So I'm eager to see how they do this movie, and it'd be nice if they did it the same way as the animated version, where Black Adam returns and he has to fight not only Captain Marvel, but Superman shows up as well. That'd be cool if they could get Henry Cavill to be in this movie too, to fight Black Adam. But you know how some of these online fans are. They might get upset because it's going to cause some property damage. You got super beings like that fighting is going to cause some buildings and stuff to fall down, and if they don't save enough people every scene, kids, not kids, but these adult fans online will be upset if they don't do that, just like they did with Man of Steel. But at least something a fan like me could enjoy, a superhero brawl like that. So I guess The Rock can pull it off. He's a decent enough actor, right? And it'd be cool just to see him be more of a bad guy and not necessarily have to play the hero. I know he's more used to that, but it'd be cool to see him just be a villain in a movie, because he was always great as a heel when he was in wrestling. So that was the best version of Rock, in my opinion, more than the babyface version. So we shall see how it turns out. Like I said, I don't think this is in production yet, but so they just use almost some painted / animated comic book images to make that trailer. And it came off good. I liked his dialogue in it, but we'll see when we get an actual real trailer how it turns out. Next is, I believe it's Gotham Knights, with the video game. So in this version, it's kind of following the Arkham universe. And in this one, Batman is dead or has disappeared, and so he's put out a signal to all of his proteges to kind of take over and protect the city. So it looks like they got Dick Grayson, they got Jason Todd as the Red Hood, they have Batgirl, and I would assume the other Robin is Tim Drake. I'm not. It doesn't look like Damian Wayne because I would assume if Damian Wayne was this version of Robin, he'd be moving more like an assassin or whatever, more than Tim Drake was not a killer. Damian Wayne is a killer that was trained by the League of Shadows, so I would assume he would be more lethal in the way. Like this one, he seems like he's having more. He's efficient, but he seems like he's having more fun than anything else. So I'm not sure. You guys let me know in the comment section if this is Tim Drake or is it Damian Wayne. But cool game. I'm not the biggest fan of the Arkham series, not because I hated or think that the gameplay is bad or whatever. I'm just kind of overdosed on Batman, and I have been for probably the last 2 decades. The fact that Batman has so many movies, TV shows, animated series, TV shows surrounding his universe. He has TV shows and movies about his side characters, his rogues gallery, several different comics. I'm just kind of OD'd on Batman, folks. Like, you would think there's so much Batman content out there, you would think he's the only character in the entire DC universe. It's like there's so many things they could be doing that it's a shame. Like I said this years ago when I said like it would be nice to get a Shazam / Captain Marvel movie, and I'm glad they finally did it. But they do one movie, and then like I said, they always just go back to Batman. I guess people think he's relatable. I don't. And when you actually sit and think as an adult and analyze Batman, you kind of see that this is probably not a person that you want to idolize. Just not my opinion. That's my opinion of him anyway. As a kid, I can see why you would like Batman. He's aggressive, he's dark, he's brooding. He's the perfect superhero for a teenager to idolize because he has a lot of their qualities. But at the end of the day, he's not really handling his trauma very well. In fact, he's a borderline psychopath, sociopath. He's one step away from being a member of his rogues gallery. I guess that's why they work so well together. Because, like I said, he's one step away from being them. In a lot of ways, he is them. Because just the way he acts, he's extremely a person who's not dealing very well. A lot of people say they hate Superman, but I relate more to that character of someone who has great power but is trying his best to be more of an example. And set a good example at that. So, like I said, when I was a teenager, I love Batman. As an adult, I can understand and identify more with Superman as an adult who is in charge of a family, a home, and has responsibilities. I understand Superman more as far as someone who wants to show a good example. Yes, I'm a big, strong guy, but I can't go beating everyone that pisses me off, go and beat them to death. Unlike Batman, who will do that. He doesn't really set a good example. He thinks using scaring people into being good, and then that doesn't work when you have someone who's not scared of you. Like I was rewatching The Dark Knight the other day, and I was like, you relied on fear for your entire, that's your whole shtick, is making people scared of you in order for them to act right. And then you have some psychopath like the Joker who's just not scared at all. He's not even scared of dying. He wants you to try and kill him just so he can mess you up. So you've painted yourself into a corner there. But, like I said, I'm just kind of overdosed on the Batman content. I like those characters a lot. Like, I really like Dick Grayson. I always have. I liked him as Nightwing and as the leader of the Teen Titans. I even like, what's his name? The second one, Jason Todd, as the Red Hood. I thought that was a very cool story. I'm glad they brought him back. I like him as a character. Very cool character. And, I think Tim Tim Drake was my favorite Robin of all. One thing just because of how he was very intelligent, and I appreciated that about his character. So we shall see how that goes. What's the last one? I guess it was Suicide Squad was the very last thing that I saw of any importance that I might be interested in. I saw the first Suicide Squad movie. I even did a review of it here on this channel. But I'm not sure. I wasn't sure what they were going to do as far as the sequel goes. It seems like they've added a ton more characters in this, so I'm assuming by doing that, this is going to fit more into what the Suicide Squad is about. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of character deaths. I just hope they're not just toss away and throw away. Like, I hope it's just not kind of like that one guy, how they just kill characters for laughs. You know, you can do that once, but don't make that the entire point of movies. Otherwise, you're just wasting characters. If they're just going to show up and then get their heads blown off or their neck collar blows up or whatever, right? Don't do that. So I hope the fact that they have so many characters that they actually can get some screen time and there's actually something, important about them. I hope that it's just not all Harley Quinn. I know she's a popular actress. I know she's a popular character, but I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing my man, the Shark, King Shark. He's one of my favorite characters in the DC universe. I'm looking forward to seeing him. There've been a couple of different versions of him, but I'm looking forward to seeing that character in an actual movie. I know they've added him to the game as well. The Suicide Squad game looks pretty cool. That looks better to me than the Gotham Knights movie or Gotham Knights game. I'm looking more forward to the Suicide Squad game more than that. So we shall see how it goes with Suicide Squad. I have my personal feelings about what's his face, the guy that's directing it. I know fans love him, but I have my issues with him and some of the nonsense he put out on his social media. I don't think it's funny to make jokes about molesting children and molesting minors. To me, that's not funny, and I don't know why there's this section of Hollywood that thinks that that's funny, and why there's a section of fandom who thinks it's okay to excuse that. They say that they almost make it seem like any joke goes, but if you saw the tweets that he made about molesting young boys and whatnot, and some of the people he hangs out with who actually make videos about, make jokes and make whole videos where they're making fun of raping children. I mean, that's extreme. I don't want to get too much into that here. That's why I'm trying not to even, get too hardcore into it. But that's just my feeling on that. And, like I said, that's one of the things that's turned me off to wanting to see this sequel. I saw the first one, and, I thought the directing was just fine. But now they got this guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy. I guess they're trying to get some of that to rub off on Suicide Squad. They got this director here. They think he's funny enough that he can do Suicide Squad, but I'm not I'm not too sold on him at all. So anyway, that's my thoughts on DC Fandome. You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. Which project are you most looking forward to seeing? Is there anything that you didn't like? Is there anything that you hate? Is this the future of the DC universe that you've wanted to see and that you want to continue? Or are you just completely turned off by it? Are you sour to it and you just don't care? You're just looking forward to the next Marvel movie? You guys let me know all about that in the comment section. Anyway, this is Chris Crazy House signing out. Peace.